So when we talk about equality, well, that's a good goal, but let us not presume that because everyone should be treated equal, that they start out on equal footing. So equity as a concept says, recognize that everyone has the same capacity, but in order for them to have equal opportunity to reach that capacity, we must pay attention to this issue of equity if we are to expect and allow people to compete on equal footing.
Well, let's get this bill passed, and then we'll see how the mechanics and all of that's going to work through.
No new taxes on families making more than, no new taxes on families making less than $400,000 or under, and no new taxes on small business. Not one middle-class person filling out their taxes will pay higher taxes.
My colleagues on the other side will come down here today not to talk about inflation, not to talk about gas prices, but to instead talk about the hundreds of billions of dollars that's being spent on radical environmental projects. And you know what? They will be exactly right. Half of the spending, over $400 billion, goes to things like $3.4 billion for tree equity. Tree equity. That surely is going to bring down the gas prices. $7.5 billion for new luxury electric vehicles. Tax credits for families who make up to $300,000 a year. That should definitely curtail inflation. $27 billion for a national climate bank slush fund at the EPA. That should definitely help our supply chain crisis. A $362 million handout to corporate America to make their offices, buildings much greener. That will definitely help secure our southern border. Democrats believe they can spend their way out of inflation and tax their way out of recession. It will only make the suffering Americans face today that much worse.
Did the president watch Merrick Garland's statement today?
As you know, he's in South Carolina with his family at this time. I've not spoken to him. He's taking a little time, still doing the work of the American people, but taking some time with his family.
It's a transformational piece of legislation. It's a tremendous step in the fight. It represents the single largest investment in clean energy, environmental justice, and climate action in the history of this country. It is.
Yes.
I'm really proud of the work I did on it. The auto industry has demonstrated it's ready for America to be the global EV leader. And we're not going to secede our leadership to any other country. We will lead in innovation and technology. From domestic supply chains to manufacturing to consumer incentives, the policies in this bill pave the way.
They want to hire 87,000 IRS agents, Congressman, and they're probably going to get this through today when it gets a vote in the House.
Well, get this, Maria. The Clemson football stadium holds right at 83,000 fans. It won't even hold the IRS agents that they're getting ready to hire. They're doing this for effect, and the American people don't deserve this. To call this the Inflation Reduction Act just goes to show you it's a bait and switch. It's anything but the Inflation Reduction Act. This is going to fuel inflation, and again, the American people are getting hit in so many different ways, and it's so unfair.
And it struck me as I'm sitting there, and I've been reminded of this every time I go home, but it really struck me before I came here today that we like to talk a lot about how divided politics is in America, and it is. It's very polarized. But I think we make a huge mistake when we think it's as simple as what normal political divisions are in this country, which is between Republicans and Democrats or between the left and the right. The polarization in American politics, the division, the sharpest division in American politics today is between the priorities of millions and millions of people who live paycheck to paycheck, the working class heroes of our country that we've always bragged about, always looked up to, we all recognize makes us different than the rest of the world, between the things that matter to them and what the people that run this place, and I don't just mean the Senate, but the federal government and politics in general, are focused on. There is a universe of difference between the stuff we spend time voting on and talking about and arguing about in politics and in this place and what people are worried about on a daily basis. I know a lot of you think that everyone's glued to their TV and Twitter watching everything we're doing here tonight. They're not. They might know something's going on tonight, maybe, but most people are worried about their everyday life. What they expect is that we would be here, I don't know, working on the things that matter to them. I'm telling you that what the people, by the millions, registered in both political parties, people that voted for Biden, people that voted for Trump, I'm telling you what they're worried about